Other. Larry Sharpe has traveled the country and has personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio here on the Voice of Liberty. The number to call after the first break, 585-346-3000. You know, I was talking with my daughter after Mamdani's victory last week in New York City. And my daughter, for those of you who don't know, is an EMT here in New York City. I know, crazy job, but true. She is, and she loves it. So she was talking to her driver, and she often has different drivers, different partners, depending upon where she's going in the city, things like that. So one young man she's chatting with, and he says to her while they're driving, he says, "Aren't you excited that Mamdani won?" And she was like, "Well, no, not really. I mean, not really." He's like, "No, don't you understand? He's on our side, right? He's not one of those guys. He's going to make things better for us. He cares about us." And my daughter said, "Okay. I mean, why do you say that?" She's very good talking. She wasn't mad at him. Got to work with the guy, right? Got to be literally moving bodies around, right? On stretchers and stuff, right? So got to be good. She goes, "No, he's going to do good stuff." She says, "What?" "I'm not joking. Hold on to your hats when I tell you this." He then said, "Well, he's probably going to lower our taxes." I know, some of you fell out of your chair. But that's what he said. Why in the world would a young man here in New York City say that Mamdani is going to lower our taxes? That seems to make literally no sense whatsoever. Well, that's because you listen to this show, which means you pay attention. But the average New Yorker doesn't. They just live their life. How could this guy think that? Here's the reality. He didn't know. And she walked down that road. He didn't know. What he thought was, and this is as far as his thought process went, the system isn't working. The Democrats and Republicans are part of the system. Therefore, they're bad. Mamdani's not that because he's this special Democratic Socialist thing, whatever that is. I don't know what that is. Even though, again, some of you are saying, "But Larry, he was a Democratic nominee." Yeah, but that guy didn't know that. He still thought Cuomo was the Democrat because he's a Cuomo. I get what you're saying, what is logically and accurately correct. I'm telling you what this guy thought and what a whole lot of other people thought. Well, this DSA guy, he's not the establishment. Therefore, by default, he's good. What's his policies? Don't know, but I do know he's good. Why? Because he's not them. I understand many of you are thinking, "Larry, that seems crazy." Oh, that is far more normal than you might think. And so what happened? Because he thought that this guy was a good guy, just because, that he must be doing things that he wanted. And he wanted his taxes lowered. So he just assumed that Mamdani is on his side and would therefore lower the taxes. That actually makes logical sense if you think about it that way. It does make logical sense. If you're not paying attention at all, that makes total sense. And he wasn't. And many aren't. Many aren't. Now, why do I bring this up to you? Because this is now what the people who support Kathy Hochul, they know this too. It isn't like I'm the only guy who knows this, right? It'd be great if I was that super savvy and smart. I'm the only guy who knows this. That's not how it works. They know it too. Now, does Kathy Hochul know it? Who knows? Probably not. But her people do. That I'm sure of. In fact, I know, and I'm not joking, her people listen to this show. I'm not making this up. They do. So listen to this show. So they know it. Right now, whoever's the assigned staff member to listen to this show is going, damn it, Larry's right again. They're saying it right now. Yes. That's what happened. This is why Hochul can endorse him. There are people saying, now she's finished because she endorsed Mamdani. Mamdani got over 50% of the vote. And my friend, the Republican Curtis Sliwa, got less than 10%. Anybody who thinks this endorsement, and I'm doing it in air quotes, of Mamdani is going to somehow hurt Hochul, it's not. She did the thing so she can say, see, I don't hate you DSA people. Hey, if any DSA people are listening, she does hate you. Absolutely, she hates you. But she can act like she doesn't and go, see, I don't. I endorsed your guy. See, I'm like you, kinda, ish. See, don't hate me. And please never forget, the orange man is bad. So you can vote for evil orange man, or I can save you. And I don't really hate you that much, kinda. And then they'll vote for her. That's literally what they're doing. Okay. How do I know that? Because right after he won, right before he won, she was showing about the events. She was saying how awesome he is. Oh, he's the best. He's so exciting. Look how awesome Mamdani is. Oh my God, I'm so proud. All that stuff. Now, election's over. Now what's she saying? Yeah, I said no new income taxes, and I meant it. Wait. But Mamdani is going to pay for all his stuff with new taxes on the rich people, right? That's what he said. We've been chanting that for like months now. And Hochul said, yeah, you have been. And then she said, the more you push me, the less I'll do it. Her words, not mine. She went, yeah, if you peasants want stuff, how dare you insult the queen? The queen's will is the will of the people. I am the people. That's what she said. Well, that part was my words. That part was mine. But the earlier part was actually her words. But that part was mine. I just translated it. How dare you insult the queen? My will is the will of the people. Don't tell me what your will is. I will tell you what your will is. I wish I was joking. That's my translation of her words. So, yeah, what happened with that tax the rich thing? Out the window. But that's okay, because Mamdani will tax the rich. Yeah, he can't. There's no way he can do that. For those of you who aren't clear on how powerful the mayor is in New York City, the mayor basically has power over two things. Basically. There's other things, but the two big things. Cops and schools. A lot of power over cops and schools. Not even 100% there, but a lot. Like a lot of power, cops and schools. The rest? A lot of talk. You go, that's okay, Larry. Doesn't matter. Totally fine. Because Mamdani also told us that he's going to give us free universal child care. That's what he said. And Hochul was like, child care is so important, and we care so much before the election. When the election's over, what's Mamdani saying? Oh, child care, free child care for everybody. Love it. You haven't stopped, Mamdani. I'll give you that. You are consistent. Credit where credit is due. The man is consistent. He's going to tax you. No, he's not. He's going to get you free child care. No, he's not. Why? Because Kathy Hochul now says, well, yeah, she loves free child care for everybody. Sure. In a phased, her words, phased methodology that will be based upon needs and current service and stuff. Yeah. I added the and stuff because that's what it is. It's and stuff. And the and stuff, that's the most important part. That's the real important part, the and stuff part. So yeah, which means she'll decide who and when and where will get a little bit childcare, free-ish, probably forcing the counties to pay as she always does, more unfunded mandates to the counties to pay for whatever she deems true. And then when it fails, she'll blame Mamdani, I guess, or whatever. Yeah, down the tubes already. No worry. No worries, Larry. You talking trash, but I love Mamdani, so I got this one. Free buses. Beat that one, Mr. Larry Sharpe. Okay, I will. Kathy Hochul said before, oh my God, transit matters. Mamdani's a genius. This stuff's important. Oh my God, yes. Election over. What does Kathy Hochul say? She cannot end a system that relies on bus fares. She can't end it. It relies on it. There's no way of paying for it. That's now she says that. Oh, yeah. In fact, if you live in New York City, as I do, you'll notice on the buses, they now have signs that say fares required. Because I'm not joking, a whole lot of New Yorkers thought, well, now Mamdani's won, the buses are magically free. And you might laugh at that. That literally happens so much. There are signs on the buses telling them that you have to pay because they all think the buses magically became free. Just in case you didn't know, if you're listening, the buses did not become magically free. That's not how that works. I appreciate your wonder and your sense of magic. I'm happy that you have that. Good for you. But not going to happen. Not a thing. It's not a thing that all of a sudden magically the buses become free. And so now, of course, Kathy Hochul says, put on the buses, make sure you put it on there, fares required, so that people know they weren't free. Yeah. I know some of you listening are almost, if not laughing or crying, one or the other. But understand, this is how guys like Mamdani get elected. It's how it happens again and again. Am I wrong? Are you surprised? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
For the last couple of years, Joe Robach has been telling you about Flower City Collision in Henrietta, saying that it was started by a veteran along with his son, Zach. Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and I am that veteran. I want to thank the WYSL listeners for their support over the last couple of years. During those years, not only have I experienced the gratification of providing you the best repairs and customer service, it has also allowed me the opportunity to see my son develop as a young professional. So remember, Flower City Collision for your collision.
We have a caller, D, from Atlantic Beach, Florida.
Conservatives may have won, but you know
You're welcome.
Unceasingly try to undermine society and spread evil, targeting the innocent and God-fearing, especially our children. Help promote a truth-based society and try something different in 2025. The WYSL stations can grow your business, professional practice, or organization, so allocate your ad dollars here. Reach our huge audience, entertained, inspired, and informed by leading conservative thought. Affordable, effective. The WYSL stations, the voice of liberty. Call 585-346-3000 to advertise.
Hey, if you like history and you like airplanes, the National Warplane Museum in Geneseo, New York is the place to go. Tours, exhibits, events, vintage aircraft, and more. Visit nationalwarplanemuseum.com for more details.
Sharpe Radio on the voice of liberty.
Oh, yes. It is Larry Sharpe.
Couple more coming.
On Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. 585-346-3000. I'm going to grab a couple of comments real fast. Daniel says, happy 250th birthday, Devil Dog. Yes. For those of you who don't know, today is the Marine Corps birthday. I am 250 years old today. I look really good for 250. I look amazing for 250. It's true. All my brothers and sisters who have served in my glorious Corps, happy 250. I appreciate that we are still around, rocking and rolling, stronger than ever. Mike Voss in the house also. Happy birthday, Marine. Yes, indeed. Semper Fi, my brothers and sisters. It's a great day for us. We all know today is our birthday, and we are still looking good. We've gone through some tough stuff, but we are still looking good. Let me grab a phone call if I could. This is Dee from Florida. How are you, Dee?
I'm good. And Larry, you look fantastic for 250 years old.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you.
What advice can you give when talking with people outside of New York that only listen to their side of mainstream media? So you've got news outlets like CNN who praise Hochul, and then you've got Fox Phone News who likes to say that Stefanik's going to turn New York red, and we all know it will go gold first.
True.
So, and that GOP is actually the spoilers this upcoming election in 2026 when it comes to the governor run. Do you have any advice that I can clip later and send to my GOP friends? And I'm going to hang up now and listen to your response.
Thank you, Dee. Look, the reality of it is, if you don't live in New York State, you might think, why do I care about what happens in New York State? I understand that logic. That makes sense in general. But here's the reality. What happens in New York State is going to come to your state, good or bad. New York State's where most of the terrible stuff begins, sometimes California, but most of the time New York. And if we can't stop it here, it gets to you. You should care.
Craig.
I'll go one step further. If New York State tries to put a Republican in at the top of the ticket here, again, at the top of the state, the governor, it's another loss. There's only 23% of registered voters across the state are registered Republican. The numbers don't exist. It's impossible. To Dee's point, in New York City, again, my friend Curtis Sliwa wound up being the spoiler. He couldn't break 10%. In Buffalo, our second largest city, in that mayoral race, would a guy break 20%? Maybe. Last I checked, he was under 20. I don't know how he finished. It is impossible. It cannot work. The state will go gold or purple before it will go red. The numbers aren't there. Independents are the way. Mamdani was seen as an independent, even though he wasn't, but he was seen as one. We see it everywhere. The independent, this is the year of the independent. This is the way we will change the state. And if New York State is no longer blue, even after Mamdani, not blue, gold or purple, it changes, not blue, it will not go red, it's impossible. The entire nation changes. Everyone goes, wait a minute, the system's broken, but we can fix it. By voting, we can fix it. If we change how we vote, we can break the system. We can create coalitions to be forward, like Trump kind of did last year when he added RFK Jr., when he added Tulsi Gabbard, when he added Elon Musk. It was a coalition that worked. That can be done. Thank you for that call, Dee. I appreciate it. So, yes, she is correct. Let me grab another call if I could. This is Craig. Craig, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Larry?
Doing okay. You going to tell me how I'm wrong with my Republicans?
I am going to kind of push back a little bit because, I mean, it's attitudes like that, Larry, why Republicans never do win, because you third parties come in and you just poison everybody's brains and convince them with false hope. And, then the Republican would have won if it weren't for you saying all that nonsense.
That would be great, except that's never been true ever in the past 30 years. Never
I
been
agree.
true once.
So now that we have
the story
wait.
that hold on, let me finish. That's a story Republicans have told you and told many people for decades. The state has been going blue for the past 23 years. It's so blue that even if you add up all the independent votes, the Democrats still wins every single time. I know this also. The Republicans are worried because they make laws to push the independents out. Not because the independents would be a spoiler, because the independents would beat the Republicans. How do I know that? because there are more independents registered in New York State than there are Republicans. Republicans are actually, across the state, the third largest party, not the second. Now, locally, Republicans win often. Again, I want to be clear. There are tons of local Republicans who do a great job. If you like them, please support them. I am talking specifically across the entire state. Go ahead, Craig. Sorry.
No, thanks for expounding on that. Now, so that kind of kills this next question. But say this is the year. Say Elise gets in there. Wouldn't it be? She would do good things, Larry. She would fix stuff. She would take on Mamdani and make sure that we didn't have evil things happening in the city and spreading into New York State.
All right. So let me touch that piece. Let's assume for a second that I'm completely wrong. And somehow with magic powers, the same way the buses became free all of a sudden, New York State says, you know what? We love Republicans. And all the Democrats who literally voted in Mamdani and support him have decided, you know what? Just kidding. We actually love Stefanik, who is tied directly to Trump in New York State. I'm wrong, and that's what happens. Okay, great. She wins. Wonderful. Hochul's gone. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that. Awesome. She wins. Great. She has a state that's against her. She has an assembly that's against her. She's a Senate that's against her. And she has no plans. She still doesn't have plans. She will never have plans because she knows she can't win. So if she actually wins, she'll be shocked. She'll have to create a policy all of a sudden. She doesn't know what to do. She has no policies. There's no way it would work. Not just that. She couldn't make anything get done. She won't control anything. Not the courts, nothing. Well, Larry, if someone like you wins, how will you have it? Because I'm an independent party. So I turn the state Senate with just 5 or 10 people. I then control the Senate through swing vote. I actually have control. Change everything. Not just that. That means people will be voting for me. The entire country will change. Money will flow in. Press will flow in. Everything will change. An independent can actually change things. A Republican can't. Hope I made sense to you.
Yeah, I think you've convinced me.
Well, there we go. Life is good. Thank you for that. Let me grab a couple of comments. I have a bunch of comments I need to grab here. All righty. Shelly says, Hochul will help anyone so long as she gets her money for it. Remember, 3 things, Shelly. You're right, but I have to add more. Politics is run by 3 things. There's 3 types of currency in politics. Money, votes, and eyeballs. And they very often overlap. So I agree. If she gets money and or votes and or eyeballs, she'll help. I agree. She's about power. True. Mike Voss in the house says, Hochul is tied to 1, donors, 2, party. Mamdani is a problem to both. Valid point. His policies and ideology have failed across U.S. and the globe. Also true. So why link to a known and clear failure that is harming New York State right now? I'll tell you why she would. For what Shelley just said. Votes and or money. The donors matter, you're right. The party matters, you're right. The question is, are there enough people who Mamdani will bring over that can come to her? She wants to make sure she doesn't lose a primary. I don't think there's a real problem, but it is a concern. So that will be the reason why she linked herself to him earlier. She doesn't want to be seen as his enemy, which she isn't. She is not seen as, she is his enemy, but she isn't seen as his enemy. She's seen as a reluctant ally, and she's okay with that. If she's seen as an enemy, a lot of his people who are ideologues to the max will vote against her for spite. She wants to make sure that that's a very small percentage. If that's a small percentage, she'll be okay. That is her goal. That's why she will just kind of link herself to him, but not completely. And right now, to be forward, it's working. She's walking that tightrope right now just good enough to keep the party, keep the donors, and not be an open enemy. We'll see how long that lasts. Is Michael right? Am I right? What about Shelley? What about Craig? Or even Dee? Let me know. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
Okay, Keith is holding on through the break. You're welcome.
Radio home of the Bonnies. Avon, Rochester, WLEA, WLEA FM, Hornell, New York.
FM Talk.
Canisteo Valley Update.
Numerous racing and dirt track media outlets report that Outlaw Speedway owner Tyler Seary was badly injured in a racing accident in Charlotte, North Carolina this past Saturday. Seary was in a vehicle. The video shows it flipping over numerous times. He reportedly suffered broken bones.
Okay, and we'll have another call after Keith.
Tuscarora Town Supervisor Bob Nichols said today that Tuscarora is undergoing a reval these days. The Campbell Fire Department says that while their fire hall is out of service for repairs for several months, if you need help, you should contact either the East Campbell Fire Department or the Bradford Fire Department. And Steuben County Public Works Commissioner Eric Rose says County Route 74 in Plattsburgh is not closing down. They've changed their plans. It will not be worked on until the spring due to the weather. Brian O'Neill for the Voice of Liberty.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. Numerous snow showers and local lake flakes will make for a pretty wintry scene out there. Could be an inch or two area-wide. Could be several inches north of the thruway. Temps in the 20s. Watch for some slick roadways on Tuesday. Morning snow showers. Some light additional accumulations will clear in the afternoon. Still a windy, cold day, only in the 30s. I'm Rich Canilia for the Voice of Liberty.
Every day can be a holiday in your new ride from Dansville Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Franklin Street near the airport, where you can lease a 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4 SUV for just $299 a month for 42 months. Or check the 2026 Jeep Compass Limited SUV for only $269 a month for 27 months. A 2026 Jeep Wrangler Sports Convertible is just $249 a month for 36 months. Tackle work and fun in a 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Lone Star Crew Cab pickup for just $299 a month for 42 months. These deals require lease loyalty. Stellantis lease loyalty on Wrangler. $2,500 down, first payment, DMV taxes and fees due at signing, 7,500 miles per year, except pickup, which is 10,000 miles per year. Other conditions may apply. See dealer for details. We welcome Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers in Hornell, Wellsville, Angelica, Arkport, and Canisteo. Visit Dansville Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Franklin Street near the airport.
Updike's Willow Ridge of Hornell, an adult care facility, has been giving your loved ones the best care possible since 1989. Their latest vision was to serve their residents the healthiest and freshest meats, eggs, fruits, and vegetables. And now with the help of Lathrop Farms in Canisteo, also Papa Doc's Beef, part of ABC Ranch, and Full Quiver Meats, Whispering Winds Organic Dairy Farm, Updike's has been able to do just that. Located at 131 Hornell Street, Hornell. Call to arrange a tour at 607-324-5417 or visit their website, updikeswillowridge.com.
Long Agency Insurance in Mount Morris encourages all to support local, shop local, and insure local. From fair and honest rate comparisons to answering your questions and claims in a timely manner, the folks at Long Agency Insurance take pride in providing excellent customer service. That's why they were voted the best insurance agency in the Glow region by the Daily News. Call 658-3342 or visit longagency.com to get a quote today. Long Agency Insurance, insurance worth having. Proudly representing Erie Insurance.
Are you new to town and resorting to big box stores and online shopping to revamp your home? Get big city experience and unlimited options at Decorator's Choice in Hornell. We offer the largest selection of flooring in the area with installation. From custom furniture and window treatments to Benjamin Moore paints and products, our design team will create your dream space. Shop your entire sleep system with our split head and traditional mattresses, offering bedding and pillow lines for your best night's sleep. Decorator's Choice has everything you need to revamp your space. Visit our showroom at 37 Seneca Street in Hornell and like us on Facebook.
The Canisteo Rod and Gun Club has another chicken and biscuit dinner. It's coming up tomorrow, Tuesday, November 11th, 4 to 7 p.m. Eat in or take out. You may call ahead to pre-order if you would like, 607-281-5629. It's $10 per person and all are welcome. Chicken and biscuit dinner, eat in or take out at the Canisteo Rod and Gun Club located on Baker's Gulch Road in Canisteo.
Canisteo Surefine wants to congratulate the Canisteo Greenwood boys varsity football team on an amazing year. We are proud to support our own hometown team as you and your families have supported us.
Roberts Wesleyan basketball is back on the Voice of Liberty. The season tips off this weekend with the Red Hawks men facing St. Anselm Friday in the East Region Challenge at Damon, pregame at 4:30. On Saturday, the Lady Red Hawks host Bridgeport, pregame at 3 p.m. Catch all the exciting action of Roberts Wesleyan basketball this season on the Voice of Liberty.
Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Radio here on the Voice of Liberty. 585-346-3000. I have a bunch of calls I want to grab, but I want to grab one more comment. This is from Mike again. Notice that for the left, Orange Man Bad is running every elected office in every state, county, and town in America, which allows bad candidates to win based on media propaganda and fear-mongering. No lies detected. That is yes. But here's the worst part. It still works. That's the thing. Still works. Crazy. Let me grab a couple calls if I can. First is Keith. Keith, how are you, sir?
Happy 250th anniversary.
Thank you, my friend.
I wanted to ask a question about fundraising, but picking up on what that chat said about Orange Man being bad, I'm going to extrapolate to say that that person must think a lot of things that hopefully the majority of us still think are patriotic. That person would look upon as bad. I love history. I want to give a fast rendition, even if it takes away from asking about the fundraising, about the battle. One of them that the Marines made their bones. John Paul Jones, who was acknowledged as the founder of the American Navy, in a battle off of Nova Scotia, he and his smaller ship, the Bonhomme Richard, he had a crew of 140, of which they say half were Marines. They took on the larger British warship, the Serapis, in a 3-hour battle of very close in contact fighting with daggers and cutlasses and clubs. The smaller crew overwhelmed the British, and that smaller ship took the British warship, and the Marines, they took heavy casualties, both crews did. But I'm just wondering, I mean this in all sincerity to hopefully your national audience, what is bad and evil about good men giving their lives for, in this case, a new upcoming country there in the 1780s there, 1770s there, and so far as when that battle, can't people see, why can't they get over the Trump derangement? Trump, for a lot of us, stands for all that is good and patriotic about our country, and I mean, I get so very angry at the Schumers and the...
Let me cover a couple pieces of that. Hold on. Let me grab a couple of those, Keith. First thing is, most people don't know that that's the origin of the Marine Corps. The Navy had sailors, right? So that's fine. But sailors, particularly back in those days, weren't trained how to actually fight very well. They were trained how to sail the ship, repair the ship, and fire cannon. They were very good cannoneers. They knew how to do things like that. They were very good at ship-to-ship fighting. What they weren't good at was boarding and repelling boarding. They weren't good at that. That wasn't their skill set. They weren't trained in that. Marines were trained in ship-to-ship, hand-to-hand fighting. And then what we get, the nickname we get, Leatherneck, comes from we used to have high, thick leather collars. And the collars are meant there to block saber blows, because we would often fight ship-to-ship with pistol and saber, as you mentioned, or pistol and dagger. You rush across, fire a round, stab or slash. If you had a second, you'd reload, because these were all muzzle-loaded pistols at the time. You'd reload your pistol, or you'd have two pistols, fire one, dagger, saber, fire a second, dagger, saber, get a second, reload both, rinse and repeat. Not just that. If you look at the top of our officer covers, the dress blue covers, there is a cross on it. That cross was made originally for troops who would cross into the other ship. And there were sharpshooters, Marine sharpshooters in the crow's nest who would look down and fire into the melee. They wouldn't know who to shoot and who wouldn't. It'd be confusing. Whoever had a cross on their cover, you could see from the top, was a Marine. Don't shoot that guy, shoot the other. A lot of what we have here is from that time frame. So I agree completely with what you're saying. That's where tradition comes from. And that's why we created Marines for ship-to-ship fighting, where the sailors were good at cannoneering, things of that sort. So thank you for that. Second piece, why can people not see this? To be very forward with you. A lot of people in America think the system has failed them. And in many cases, they're correct. And patriotism is a symbol of the system. And when the system fails you, you don't care about the patriotism piece of it because you believe you've been cheated. So just wanted to bring that up. Continue, Keith. Go ahead and ask your other question.
Okay. If I did have time, since Stefanik was brought up, I want to ask.
Next will be Mike.
Republicans, admittedly, the creation, the building of that White House ballroom is coming from private funding, a large amount, $300 million, and hopefully Trump is correct when he says taxpayers won't have to pay for it. I just got on Saturday a solicitation from Stefanik stating she was running now for governor, so she didn't make her formal announcement until Friday, so she must have known in advance, of course, for me to get the letter the day after. But I wanted to ask, why didn't Trump wait until after the midterms to build the ballroom? That even though it's private funding, look what that $300 million could have done for candidates like Stefanik. Instead, she's sending donation letters to small potato guys like me. Yes, I've contributed to her in the past, but I don't understand that $300 million.
Sure.
And there are people who can write checks. There's a guy named Mellon, Mellon. I'm guessing he's part of that Mellon banking family. He wrote a check for $130 million to pay for our troops. Where are the people on our side, now include libertarians, who will write those big checks like the lefties do? I don't understand that. In closing, that money, $300, could have gone for Stefanik and other candidates instead of the ballroom, which could have waited.
So I'll give you both of those pieces. The ballroom piece. Why did he wait? One of the reasons is, if you look at it, it doesn't look good for a lot of Americans who are suffering. And the left is taking advantage of it. The look, I am not saying this is a bad idea. I think if that's the right thing for the White House, go ahead. All presidents make changes to the White House. If you think it's the right answer, go ahead. I personally don't care either way. If it's a good idea, good. If it's private people doing it, good. Good luck. Doesn't bother me in any way, shape, or form. But it isn't a good look. And Democrats have used that against him. I think he knew that. And he didn't want that to happen as much as
Mike.
Second piece I want to bring up. Why aren't Republicans writing big checks to Stefanik? Because they know what I know and what she knows. She cannot win. There's a waste of time, money, and energy. Why would they write a big check to her when she cannot win? The numbers aren't there. It is impossible. It is fantasy thinking that she can win. It is a waste of time and money. You've seen Republicans write massive checks to people in different states. Why? A chance of victory, a chance of change. There's none. They all know it. That's why she has to ask you, why would you write her a check for $100 million where even with the $100 million, she cannot win? There's not enough Republicans in this state. It's mathematically impossible. And with Mamdani winning, more are leaving. We lose 300,000 a year. We're going to lose at least 300,000 this year because of Mamdani's win. That's another 300,000 votes she could have had that are gone. She has no chance. They know that. I know that. We all know that. But some people, look, the GOP is in New York State. In New York State, be very clear on that, is maybe 2 or 3 cycles away from no longer running statewide candidates because no one will give money to it. Why do you think they made matching funds? They made matching funds so Republicans can pretend to be opposition. Otherwise, nobody would give. There'd be nothing. There'd be no Republicans to run. Why do you think Sliwa ran for the 3rd time in New York City? You can't get anybody to run. It's loss, loss, loss. So I don't mean to be upset, but to your very valid point, that is the answer to your question. Let me move on if I could to another call. This is Mike. Mike, how are you, sir?
Hey, pretty good. Hey, I'm gonna make a prediction.
Okay.
Hochul is going to get primaried by the black guy who's the lieutenant governor right now.
Delgado. Yep.
Delgado. Yes. If you read his platform in the new mayor of New York are exactly alike, and nobody's mentioning that Alex Soros dumped $37 million into Mamdani's campaign.
He didn't jump into campaign. It's PAC money. Yeah, a little
Well,
bit different. I mean, is supported
potato,
him, yes.
potato.
Correct. Yes. I just
You
want to be
know
clear.
what
I don't want to get us in trouble, Mike. I don't want to get us in trouble,
Well-
but you're right. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, it all went to the same place, you know.
Yes, that's true.
You know,
Yes.
when I put food on the plate, it's all going to the same place in the end. So.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
Yes. And I
But
think
no,
that's
but
what's going to
A couple
happen.
things I'll bring up with this. Delgado is trying to beat Hochul, and he knows he needs the DSA wing to do it. And that's why he's doing it. Is Delgado actually that far left? No. He's an opportunist. So he will take advantage of this, as he should. I mean, that's a smart political move. If you don't actually have any principles, which he doesn't, that's the perfect move. Do that. You don't have principles anyway. Say you're a DSA guy, even though you're not. Say that and hope that the Mamdani people will rush to you. This goes right back to my earlier point. Hochul has a lock on this right now. As long as she doesn't screw up horribly, Delgado's going to lose. Delgado's hoping to grow his base for a future run. Maybe to run for Senate, maybe to become an AG, I don't know, whatever he's looking for. Something else. He's looking for a bigger growth. Delgado wins no matter what, because more people support him. They'll see him as a voice. You have more donors and supporters. He wins no matter what. He hopes Hochul screws up bad enough they can actually beat her in the primary. He recognizes he probably can't. Hochul's doing just enough to make sure the DSA doesn't fully get behind him, and that's his goal. Does that make sense?
But I
lose you?
think we're underestimating Mamdani's base there in New York because they're all stupid. Also, too, I got a new business plan to sell in burqas.
Okay. Oh, I like that. Is that your new business
Yeah,
plan?
and
You
New York
better have a
stand.
distribution center in New York City, my friend.
That's it. I'm going to sell burqas and hijabs and burqas. That's my new thing because what's going to happen is when all the people leave New York that they're exiting now, okay, we're going to have all that vacuum's going to be filled up. They're going to leave. We're going to get all the other people from around the country that know that New York's a sanctuary city and that they're going to get the freebie gimmies. So
yes,
I'm going to be the burqa salesman.
But here's my issue, Mike. Hochul actually doesn't want that. Hochul has a lot of large, wealthy donors, and she would like them to stay in New York State if she can keep them. She would prefer that. Now, will she let them go to win? 100%. But she would prefer for them to stay. You're going to watch. You're already seeing it. I brought it up in the first segment. She is already pushing back against Mamdani, as I said she would. Last year, I said Hochul might be our savior. I know I hated saying it, but I said it because people keep saying Hochul's a Marxist, Hochul's a communist. She's not. She's a Hochulist. She does whatever gets her in power. Shelley said it earlier. She was right. She will push back just enough to try to keep as many donors as she can to stay in power. So who knows? Right now, she's not doing a bad job. We'll see how long that lasts. Thanks for the call, Mike. I appreciate it. It is Larry Sharpe here, yet again, talking about Hochul and Mamdani and Stefanik and all the things happening here in New York State. If you want to jump on board, you can. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with your calls, and I promise, chat, more of your chat after the break.
Debunking advertising from the law office of Christopher.
Can we have Roger?
And some injury attorneys inundate you with, "What's your case worth? Call us and find out." You know, nobody can tell you, quote, "what your case is worth" over the phone. Nobody knows. The ultimate answer to, quote, "what your case is worth" involves weeks or months of research, evaluation, and preparation. Many factors go into any compensation you might get, like applicable law, who's actually at fault, how much insurance coverage there is, and many, many other factors. At the law office of Christopher Johnson, the singular focus is getting your life back on track after an accident or injury. That takes money, and it helps when the advice and legal advice you get has a one-on-one focus informed by straight talk. Christopher Johnson Attorney, car, truck, motorcycle accidents, personal injury, and DWI defense. Call 585-415-3803. 585-415-3803.
Youth for Christ Rochester is creating a safe sanctuary and a Christ culture for at-risk city kids. Our basketball programs provides a strict code of conduct, discipline, and mentoring to give our kids the boundaries they need and crave. Our God's Girls middle school program is so popular we're now in 3 city schools and growing. Our Performing Arts Academy explores and identifies untapped gifts, all while delivering the gospel of Jesus Christ. Give a monthly or one-time gift at yfcrochester.org/donate.
Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Radio on the Voice of Liberty. So happy that you're giving me a small chunk of your afternoon. Boy, we are talking about New York State, all up and down what's going on. I'm so happy we've got a great chat going back and forth. And let me grab a couple people from the chat real fast. John says, your daughter is super smart. I'm glad she knows to navigate those conversations. Well, yes, talking about the conversation earlier with the driver. Yeah, she listens to her dad. There we go. She listens to her dad. I think that's something interesting right there. So, yeah, all righty. If I can grab some more of these. Gary says, Mamdani can't do most of what he promised, but he can blame everyone else, building support for socialism among the naive and uninformed. This, I think, is part of his goal, is to blame others, right? But I do think that also that his socialism is Sovietism, a little bit different. But yes, most people don't know the difference. It's a good point. When you have people who are uninformed, I think this can work. And I think he will blame people like there's no tomorrow. User has been banned says, I don't even like Republicans, but it's a lesser evil that has a chance. Absolutely untrue. That's not true in this state. In places like Pennsylvania, you're right. Ohio, you're right. In many states, that's true. Republicans aren't broken in every state. They're broken in this state and also California. And to be fair, Democrats are broken in Nebraska and Utah. It depends on what state you are and how big the gap is, right? The gap in California, massive. The gap in New York, massive when it comes to Democrats winning. Utah and Nebraska, the gap is massive when it comes to Democrats losing and Republicans winning. Utah, I think, is 4-1 now, Republican and Democrat. So it's state by state. In this case, brother, you're wrong. The lesser of two evils has no chance. The lesser of two evils got 7% in New York State, 20% in Buffalo. That's not a chance. That's a blowout. There's zero chance. It's not a thing. Let me grab a call if I could. This is Roger. Roger, how are you?
Hey, Larry. So
what's going on?
I'm going to jog your memory. Remember that time I told you that as long as we have, so I said, Democrats control this state. Okay, they have no excuse. They can pass all the policies that we want.
Yep, you're right.
But they play dumb little games. And I told you, I said, as long as we have a Democrat governor, they will never put these bills on their desk. I said, what's going to happen is we would need a Republican governor or whatever the case is, a governor that's not Democrat to put to put these bills on the desk so that governor can veto it. So then they go, oh, my God, look at this. We did our job. The governor doesn't want you to have health care. The governor doesn't want you to tax all that different type of stuff. I guess you have to get rid of him and put a Democrat in again and blah, 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 blah. That right there is when you say, oh, so you do want us to have these policies and you do want us and you do have the gumption to pass these things. Okay, how about this? Democrats, Why don't you, since you want us to have these policies so badly, put it on the ballot as a legislative referred constitutional amendment, and we will ratify it into the Constitution, state Constitution, since you want us to have it so bad. So it's redirecting the heat that they want us to put on the Republican governor or whatever, non-Democrat governor. It's redirecting the heat towards them where it's backfiring. So that's
I'm
a
going to
checkmate
hit two
right
pieces for this, Roger. One on your amendment idea and the other one on the governor idea, both of them. On the governor, this is the reason why we need an independent governor, because the independent governor is going to be open to talking to both sides to find an actual way of making things happen. Like, I'm not against, in theory, free buses, in theory. But then how do you get there? You got to give me an actual plan that makes sense. And not just that, maybe I don't want free buses. Maybe I want cheap buses. Why? Because free buses might encourage loitering. In certain places where free busing has failed, a big chunk was crime and loitering. Where it has been successful, there was not much crime and loitering. I don't know what's going to happen in New York City. We've never tried this before. We'll see whatever works the best. But if we do that right, I'd also want free or cheap subways, free or cheap bridges. I want it all that way. But with the plan, it doesn't punish. A plan that actually makes things work. So that's number one. Now, when it comes to your other issue, you know I support citizens' ballot initiatives. If the people want it, I'm okay with it. If I don't like it, it's my job, Roger, to convince the people that I'm right and they're wrong. And if I can't convince them, then they get what they want. That's what democracy is about. It is my job to convince you, no, my way's the right way. If I can't do that, then you get what you want. And if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. We're on the same page here.
And now let me say this about Mamdani. Let me tell you something. A lot of American freedmen are I don't know, are teed off with that speech that Mamdani made, because nowhere did he mention our community. And especially when he said immigrants built this city. A lot of us like, what? Hold up, who built this city?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Who built this? This city was built by slave labor. So if you saw
the piece that
social media,
you bring up here, and this is a very valid point, even though he's a DSA member, he still falls into the same Democratic mindset, which is black people vote Democrat and they owe us. We're Democrats, black people owe us. I think that he falls into that like all the rest.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's just like, nowhere all he mentioned was, this is immigrant city, immigrant this, immigrant that, blah, blah, blah. Nowhere were we mentioned. And yet, if you take a look at the percentages, because Sabby Sabs did the percentages, it was black people that voted for him the most, that took him over the top.
Yes. I appreciate that very much, Roger. And that goes back to my point. Yet again, Democrats saying, if you're black, you have to vote Democrat. It's an embarrassment. It's wrong. We shouldn't do it. And Biden even said, if you don't vote for him, you're not black. He took our black cards. I can't believe it. Yes, it's true. Guys, thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.
Have a great rest of your day.